family told me I'd fail without them. Been 10 years without contact, and I'm thriving finally freely. My phone is vibrating so hard on my desk that it rattles my coffee spoon, and the name on the screen makes my stomach flip like I've just missed a step on the stairs. It's my Aunt Leanne. I haven't heard that name in 10 years, except in the occasional nightmare, where I'm back in my childhood kitchen being told I'm ungrateful for breathing wrong. My fingers hover over decline, and my whole body goes into that familiar, humiliating freeze. Heart racing, throat tight, palms damp, like I'm 17 again and the wrong answer will cost me a place to sleep. The office around me keeps moving. Keyboards clacking, someone laughing in the hallway, the printer whirring. But my world narrows to that glowing screen. I can feel my pulse in my fingertips as I hit answer, because some part of me still thinks if I don't pick up, something terrible will happen. Hello. I manage, and my voice sounds too polite, too normal, like I'm calling a dentist. She doesn't say hi. She doesn't ask how I am. She goes straight to the thing, like she's been rehearsing it. We need to talk, she says, breathy and urgent, and I can hear other voices behind her, the low rumble of family in the background like a swarm. It's your father. He's not well. The words land, and my chest tightens in that automatic way grief does even when you've tried to kill the feeling for years. Then she adds, sharper, like she's pulling a chain. You can't ignore this. You can't keep pretending you're better than us. It was a Wednesday night 10 years ago when I realized my family didn't believe in me as a person, only as a possession. I've been standing in our living room with my backpack on, a printed acceptance letter in my hand, and my hand was shaking so badly the paper kept fluttering. I remember the smell of my mom's perfume mixed with cigarette smoke, the TV blaring in the corner, because silence was never allowed in our house. I've been accepted into a program 2 hours away. Not something glamorous, not a movie escape, just a real chance. A scholarship that didn't cover everything, but enough that I could see a door and maybe, if I ran fast enough, get through it before someone slammed it on my fingers. My dad didn't even read the letter. He looked at the heading, scoffed, and tossed it onto the couch like it was junk mail. You'll fail, he said, casually, like he was commenting on the weather. You don't finish anything. My mom didn't argue. She didn't defend me. She just folded laundry with these sharp, angry movements and said, and don't come crawling back when you can't pay rent. We're not babysitting you. My brother, Jaden, laughed from the kitchen doorway. She'll be back, he said. She can't even talk to people. They said it like a joke, but it wasn't a joke. It was a spell they wanted to cast over my life. You can't do this. You need us. You're nothing without us. I'd grown up in a house where love was conditional and attention was transactional. If you were useful, you were tolerated. If you weren't, you were a problem. My parents loved control more than they loved peace. They loved being needed, not because it made them feel connected, but because it made them feel powerful. And I was the easiest person to keep small because I was quiet. I was the kid who didn't shout back. I was the kid who cleaned up messes without being asked. I was the kid who learned early that survival was about reading moods like weather reports. They had a script for me, and it was narrow. Stay close, work some dead-end job, contribute to the household, take care of my younger cousins when my aunt needed it, be grateful for scraps, don't get ideas. When I did well in school, they didn't celebrate. They teased. They rolled their eyes. They'd say things like, oh, look at her, thinking she's smarter than everyone, or book smarts won't help you in the real world. They didn't want me to fail because they hated me. They wanted me to fail because my failure proved their story, that they were necessary, that the world was cruel, that you couldn't escape without being punished. The week after I got accepted, my dad started making jokes about rent. So, since you think you're leaving, he'd say, you can start paying more now. My mom stopped buying groceries I liked. My brother started borrowing my stuff and returning it broken. When I tried to save money, my parents would invent emergencies. We need help with the electricity bill. We need petrol. Your aunt needs childcare. If I hesitated, I was selfish. If I said no, I was cruel. If I said yes, I was weak. It was a trap designed to keep me drained. The last straw wasn't one big blow-up. It was small and humiliating, like so much of my life with them. I came home from my part-time job one evening and found my room stripped. Not vandalized, not destroyed, just emptied. My drawers were pulled out, my clothes piled in garbage bags, my books stacked by the door like evidence. My freaking passport was missing. My laptop was gone. My mom was sitting at the kitchen table sipping tea like she was waiting for applause. "What did you do?" I asked, voice shaking. She didn't look up. "We're teaching you a lesson," she said. Dad leaned in the doorway with his arms crossed. "You're not leaving," he said. "Not until you learn respect." I remember this wave of cold going through me, like my body had finally accepted what my mind had been refusing. They would rather imprison me than watch me succeed without them. That night, I waited until everyone went to sleep. I found my passport in my dad's sock drawer. I found my laptop hidden under my brother's bed. I shoved what I could into my backpack. Clothes, paperwork, the acceptance letter, the little envelope of cash I'd been hiding inside, an old textbook. My hand was shaking so hard I could barely zip the bag. I stood in the hallway for a second, listening to the house breathe, the familiar creaks and hums, and I felt this weird mix of terror and clarity. Leaving wasn't brave. Staying was dangerous. I walked out the front door at 2:14 a.m. I remember the exact time because I checked my phone and my brain latched onto it like proof it really happened. The air outside was cold. The streetlight made everything look pale. My heart was pounding so hard I thought I'd faint. I half expected my dad to burst out the door and drag me back by my hair because that's the kind of family I had. But the street stayed quiet. No shouting, no footsteps behind me, just me and my bag and the sound of my own breathing. I didn't go to a friend's house. I didn't have one close enough that felt safe to involve. I went to the 24-hour McDonald's near the highway and sat in a booth with my backpack wedged between my feet like an anchor. I bought the cheapest coffee and stared at the foam. I watched strangers come and go, and I felt this strange, shaky freedom, like I'd escaped a fire and didn't know yet how badly I'd been burned. In the morning, I called the university housing office and begged. I said I was in a bad situation. I said I had a scholarship, but no safe home. I didn't tell them everything because saying it out loud felt like betrayal, even then. But the woman on the phone didn't ask for drama. She just asked practical questions and said, "We can help." That first year was brutal. Not because I missed my family, because I didn't know how to be a person without them. I kept waiting for the punishment. I kept expecting the world to slam me down like my dad promised. I'd wake up sweating from dreams where my mom was screaming at me in the kitchen. I'd flinch when my phone buzzed. I'd apologize too much. Either would work. I'd hoard food. I'd panic if my bank account dipped below a certain number because my whole childhood taught me that stability was temporary and could be stolen. They tried to pull me back. At first it was anger. My dad left voicemails calling me names I won't repeat because even now they make my skin crawl. My mom sent texts like, "After everything we did for you," as if doing the bare minimum legally required was a charity. My brother messaged me, "You'll be back," like it was a guarantee. Then it shifted. The anger didn't work, so they tried guilt. "Your grandmother misses you. Your little cousins ask where you are. We're worried about you." The worry always came with conditions. Come home, apologize, stop acting like you're better, prove your loyalty. I didn't respond. Not because I was strong, but because every time I even considered replying, my body reacted like danger. My hands would shake. My heart would race. My stomach would twist. People talk about going no contact like it's this clean decision. For me, it was survival. It was choosing air over drowning. Year 2, I got a part-time job in a cafe. Year 3, I moved into a tiny share house where the walls were thin and the neighbors argued, but nobody screamed at me for existing. Year 4, I started therapy after I cried in a supermarket because I couldn't decide which bread to buy without feeling guilty. Therapy was humiliating at first because I kept trying to make my family sound not that bad, like I owed them protection even when they'd hurt me. My therapist looked at me once, very calmly, and said, "You're describing coercive control." The phrase made me feel both sick and relieved because it meant I wasn't crazy for feeling trapped. Over time, my life became mine in small, unglamorous ways. I learned how to pay bills without panic. I learned how to say no without explaining myself for 10 minutes. I learned how to let people help me without feeling like I owed them my soul. I finished my degree. I got a decent job. I got promoted. I built friendships that didn't feel like tests. I met my partner, Liam, and the first time he raised his voice, just laughing too loudly during a game night, I flinched, and he immediately noticed and apologized and asked what I needed. Nobody in my family ever asked what I needed. I didn't become a millionaire. I didn't become famous. I didn't show them in some dramatic revenge way. I just lived quietly, safely, freely. And that kind of thriving is invisible to the people who only measure worth in obedience. Which brings me back to my aunt's voice in my ear 10 years later saying, "Your father's not well," like it's a hook she expects to catch me with. I sit at my desk, staring at a spreadsheet that suddenly looks blurry. "What do you mean not well?" I ask, because even after everything, he's still my father in the biological sense, and biology has a way of pressing buttons you thought were dead. Leanne sighs dramatically. "His heart," she says. "He's in hospital. He's scared. Your mom's beside herself. We all are." I can hear someone in the background say, "Tell her she's running out of time, like I'm being negotiated with." "Okay," I say slowly. "I'm sorry he's sick." Leanne makes that irritated sound again. "Sorry doesn't help," she snaps. "He needs family." I swallow. "He has family," I say. "You're all there." There's a pause. Then Leanne says, very carefully, like she's laying out the real reason for the call, "We need help with the bills. The hospital parking, the medications, your mom can't work right now. We're stretched." There it is. Not "we miss you." Not "we're sorry." Money. Need. Use. My chest tightens, but my voice stays calm because therapy taught me calm is power. "I'm not sending money," I say. Leanne explodes. "See? This is what we mean. You've changed. You're cold." I actually laugh softly at that, because it's almost impressive how consistent they are. "I have changed," I say. "I'm safer now. You wouldn't have anything without us," she snaps. "We raised you." I feel a flare of heat behind my eyes. Not tears. Anger. "You try to stop me leaving," I say quietly. "You stole my passport. You had my laptop. You told me I'd fail." Don't rewrite history. There's movement on her end, muffled voices. Then my mom's voice comes on the line, and it hits me in the gut the way a smell from childhood can. "So you really think you're too good?" Mom says, and her tone is brittle, exhausted, furious. "After everything, we gave you life." I close my eyes. I can see her at the kitchen table with that cup of tea, like she was waiting for me to beg. My hands are shaking again, but I keep my voice steady. "I'm sorry Dad is sick," I repeat. "I'm not coming, and I'm not sending money." Mom's breath catches like she's about to cry, and for half a second something in me aches. Then she says, venomous, "You'll regret this. When he dies, you'll regret it." I swallow hard. "Maybe," I say honestly, "but I already regretted staying. I regretted being your version of a daughter." Mom hisses, "We made you." I open my eyes and look at the office around me. The little plant on my desk, the framed photo of me and Liam on a hiking trail, the sticky note with a reminder to pick up groceries, the normal life I built out of scraps. "No," I say. "I made me, in spite of you." There's silence on the line, so thick I can hear the faint hospital beep in the background. Mom's voice gets quieter, dangerous. "You'll fail out there," she says, like she's reaching for the old spell. "You always needed us." And I feel something in me settle, like a door closing. "It's been 10 years, I say. I haven't failed." Leanne snatches the phone back. "So that's it?" she demands. "You're just going to abandon your father?" I take a breath. "I left a dangerous situation," I say. "You're calling it abandonment because it makes you feel better." Leanne starts talking over me, listing reasons I'm selfish, listing sacrifices they made, listing all the ways I owe them. My shoulders are tense. My jaw hurts. My body wants to fold into old habits. To apologize, to bargain, to offer something small to avoid being hated. I don't. I keep breathing. "I'm going to hang up," I say, and my voice is shaking, but it's still mine. Leanne spits. Don't come to the funeral. I blink once slow. Okay, I say, and then I hang up. After, I sit there for a long time staring at my blank computer screen, feeling like I just ran a marathon. My hands keep trembling. My mouth is dry. I feel this grief that doesn't have a neat shape. Grief for a father who might die. Grief for the version of parents I never had. Grief for the kid who left at 2:14 a.m. and still flinches at her mother's voice. Liam calls me later, and when I tell him what happened, I expect him to say, "Maybe you should go." That's what people say when they don't understand. Instead, he says, "Do you feel safe?" And I start crying because no one in my family ever used that word about me. Here's the part people might judge. I don't know if my dad is actually dying. I know he's in hospital. I know he might be scared. I know he might want to see me. I also know my family lies when it benefits them. They've used emergencies as ropes before. They've used guilt like currency. They've called me selfish for having boundaries my entire life. So I did what I could that didn't put me back in the cage. I called the hospital directly. I asked if he was a patient. They couldn't give me details, but they confirmed he was there. That was enough to make it real without letting my family control the story. I sent a message through the hospital's patient liaison service. Short, simple, no promises. I heard you're unwell. I hope you recover. I'm not able to visit. Please respect my boundaries. I don't even know if he'll read it. I don't know if he'll care. But it was my choice, not theirs. And then I went home. I cooked dinner. I sat on the couch with Liam and watched a stupid show, and the normality felt both comforting and surreal. My body kept expecting the door to burst open. It didn't. The world didn't collapse because I didn't obey. That's what thriving looks like for someone like me. It's not flashy. It's not revenge. It's being able to hang up the phone and still breathe. My family told me I'd fail without them. They said I'd come crawling back. They said I couldn't survive the real world. It turns out the real world is hard. Yes, but it's predictable in a way my family never was. Bills have due dates. Jobs have requirements. Friends have patterns. You can learn those. You can build stability. You can build a life. What you can't build is safety in a house where your freedom is treated like betrayal. It's been 10 years without contact, and I'm thriving. Not because I'm special, but because I finally stopped living in a story where I was destined to lose.